In other words, there is an explosive dunamis power that's on the inside of you, and you are simply the pretty bow that holds some power that's getting ready to blow up. There was a movie that came out not long ago. It was a movie entitled The Hurt Locker. The Hurt Locker was a movie that was written and directed and produced in order to portray the story as it relates to certain kinds of warriors who were fighting in the Second Iraq War. And these men and women were called to be bomb technicians. As they would go out, according to the movie, as it was supposed to give a depiction of what real life in the Iraq War was, they would go out into the fields ahead of certain missions in order to clear the way for these folks to come through with military equipment. As they would go out, their objective was to locate and to disarm what they called improvised explosive devices, or IEDs. The interesting thing about improvised explosive devices is the fact that these devices were devices that were made out of other things, but they were not used in the same manner. I come to suggest to you today that the enemy ain't setting a new trap for you. He's just setting it in different places. It is not that the enemy has changed his tactics. It is not that he is after you in a different way. It is simply that the enemy has figured out a way to come in the back door of your life. These particular bombs, as they were buried. They were always covered up. And because they were buried, they made for more strategic weapons. I want to suggest to you this morning that if you are going to blow up, then you're going to have to blow up in silence. Oh, God. Just stay with me. I just want to minister to some people who feel like they've been buried and ain't nobody remembered where they were buried. I just want to let you know, sooner or later, you getting ready to blow up. Interestingly enough, on these bombs, many of them have timers. Or they are sensitive to weight. They have timers on them, and because they got timers on them, then there is a specific time that they are supposed to blow up. You can't make them blow up any earlier. You can't make them blow up any later. It is a time that has been set for them. Tell somebody, I'm in time. I'm in time. Yeah, it's a lot of stuff ain't gone right for you yet, and it's because the timing ain't right yet. It's because you ain't got the character for a 6-figure job yet. You don't even pay tithes with a 2-figure job. Ain't nobody saying nothing to me. It is not until your timing has been ripened that God can move some stuff in your life. Tell your neighbor, don't count me out. I'm just watching the clock. The other kind of a device, not only do we have the ones that are set by timers, there are also those that are weight sensitive. What you got to understand is that it is not until you have gone through a significant amount of heaviness that you have been qualified for the weight of glory that God is getting ready to place on your life. You ain't ready for the glory of God until you've learned how to let people leave who decided that they want to walk away. You ain't saying that to me this morning. You are not qualified for the glory of God until you understand the weight of praying for somebody who did not get well, but they only got sicker. Is there anybody in here today that believe that you just might qualify for the weight of glory that God's getting ready to put on your life? Tell somebody, I think I qualify. I think I qualify. You ain't ready to blow up until you've been through the right amount of weight. The right amount of heaviness, the right amount of struggle, the right amount of trouble. And it is not until that time that the sensitivity that is placed on your life, it awakens you to what it is God is getting ready to do. Somebody shout, I'm getting ready to blow up. I'm getting ready to blow up. What was so good about this movie is the fact that in the movie there was several opportunities where the folks could have disarmed the bomb. But in several cases, they arrived on the scene too late. Can I suggest to you that the enemy could have disarmed you, but he came too late? Can I suggest to you that he should have got you in 2009, but he let you get serious about God in 2008, and because he came too late, he could not take you out. Tell your neighbor, he should have and he could have. Somebody shout, but God. Well, in my final 10 minutes, I want to suggest to you that there is really something on the inside of you that God's getting ready to blow up. But he can't blow it up in your timing, because there is indeed a sensitivity to timing and a sensitivity to weight that will determine your ability to be who God has called you to be in this season of your life. And you can't be who he called you to be just because you woke up this morning. Just because you showed up to church. You gotta put some time in. You gotta put some effort in. You gotta watch this, some prayer in.
Yeah.
So we find ourselves in the book of 1 Chronicles chapter 4, beginning at verse 9, where we pick up with the brother named Jabez, who begins to pray. Hear this. Jabez, it is interesting that we open up the story in the middle of a chronicalization. Indeed, it is a genealogical chronicalization of all of the people who have made up the tribe of Judah. The writer begins to pen all of these folks. In the beginning, he begins in verse 1. He talks about the descendants of Judah. He talks about Perez and Hezron and Camry and Hur. He goes down the line. He goes 8 verses of naming all these folks. And then finally, he gets to Jabez. Gets to Jabez. And what's so interesting, it seems like Jabez abruptly comes on the scene. It gives a genealogy of everybody else, but when it comes to Jabez, it does not tell us who Jabez belongs to. It simply says that Jabez was more honorable than his brothers. It mentions his brothers and it mentions his mothers, but it does not say who his daddy was. I come to say to you this morning that some of y'all, you don't fit. And folk don't understand you real well. Some of you don't know who your daddy is. And some of you got suspicions about who they say your daddy ain't. But I come to let you know this morning that Jabez is a whole lot like you. Isn't it interesting that in the middle of naming all of these folk who seemingly got it together, people who didn't even get a verse dedicated to them, that now all of a sudden Jabez gets 2 verses. And ain't even got a daddy. God. I come to let you know that some of y'all, God's getting ready to blow you up and you ain't even got the credentials. You ain't got the pedigree, but God says, I'm getting ready to blow you up because that's just like me. I love taking what people think is nothing and making it into something. Is there anybody here that understands that every now and then God got to use somebody just like you?
That's right.
About 25 of y'all should have shouted right then, because you know you ain't hitting on 2 dead flies. You ain't paid child support in 2 years. You don't know who your children are anymore, and they don't know you. But you should have been saying, God, you mean to tell me you can still use me? You can still move me in a way that I ain't been used before? And not only can I start paying child support, but I can start tipping the child support her?